police officer. Remember, I'm a member. I'm a member of SAPS. I know the ins and outs of SAPS. I know what they are allowed to do and what they are not allowed to do. And that they did to me. They did to me one of their own. So I'm telling people every day. I say in Tansi, Sibia, whoever didn't have a chance against Gininda and his team. If they could do that to me, they didn't have a chance. If they told them, you did it and you will sign this confession, they did it. If they say they were tortured, I believe they were tortured. I believe they were tortured to sign those confessions, because if they could, they would also have tortured me. But they didn't have that opportunity to torture me. You understand? So
Yeah.
those people who are talking and say these people made voluntary confession, there's no such. There's no such. The police don't have rules. They don't have. That's why Gininda is sitting in court today. Never ever have been follow official rules. Now he must account, and then he will say no, but it's not supposed to be like that. Warning statement is a warning statement. When you interview someone, whether that person is arrested or not, that you have to fill in the warning statement. I heard him talking about the show. I called another general who was also part of the top management. I said, you know what, general? I remember one time you told me about this unlawful shorter version that they made for themselves at a police station because of some lazy detectives, because they don't want to complete the entire form. Now they take certain pages and they make copies of it and they interview you with those ones. Those ones are not official. They are not official. The official one is the one that Mnizi was holding.
Hey, tada! We are back with another video. Today, the Sotomayor case will resume and it will be centered around those bail hearings that Mtanzi appeared on, as well as the first appearance where he was allegedly misrepresented by Umjiako. Remember, in Boxback, he raised his hands trying to tell the magistrate that this lawyer is not appointed by me, but the magistrate ignored Bwantanzi. So today's questioning will be more about that, and then also about the bail hearing. I think the bail hearing was handled by Jackie Dwaba, the same Jackie Dwaba that was implicated in the Madlang Commission of Inquiry for giving bail to those alleged top 5 criminals in the country. Remember, Okati Somulife and so on and others. So Ntanzi had no chance when he applied for that bail because the likes of Dwaba were presiding over the case. We know all Dwaba. They've been accused and been implicated in the Madlang Commission of Inquiry. So I have no faith in Chocolate Dwaba. That is why Bwantanzi did not get bail. I think when he appeared under Judge Dwaba, he was represented by Titi Chobane, Titi Chobane, the one that was the attorney, the one that was the interacting attorney under Advocate Tefo. He's famous for saying, Lordship, 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 to Judge Maumela, and Maumela thought that was a threat, but asikhoke lapho. So today's hearing will be all about those bail hearing. But now Ubalo is going to try and prove that Mchiako appeared in some of those courts in behalf of Bwantans. But the main question will remain ukuthi ubani owamnika ilungelo ukuthi ammele, because Ntanzi maintains that he never appointed Mchiako. We shall see ukuthi uzothini Baloyi, because when he was asked last week about ukuthi where is the financial instruction to Mchiako, Baloyi could not answer. So we'll see ukuthi uzokwenzakalani. The main important thing in this case is that evidence has been disputed and debunked in this case. Let's go back to the gun issue. Remember that Ukadla Mncube was arrested in February 2015. I think that was about 4 or 5 months after Senzo was shot and unalived. The guys that arrested Ukadla Mncube was Masondo and Dlamini. They then tested the gun and discovered that the gun Ukadla Mncube is not linked to the shooting of Senzo Minyiwe, meaning that Ukadla Mncube's gun did not shoot Senzo Minyiwe. Then mase kufika oGininda noMogola and so on, the same gun is now linked to a killing of Senzo Meyiwa. How so? Clearly there's corruption there in the police laboratory. That's it. That's the only thing I can conclude, because Abo Mason and Dlamini found that that gun Gadla did not match the projectile that was found in the crime scene. So Gadla did not shoot Senzo. Remember also, Guti, that projectile was found emzini Khumalo on the Monday after they could not find it on a Sunday when Senzo was shot. So Umosiya searched that house on Sunday when Senzo was shot. He searched it and found no bullets or bullet jacket or projectile. He found nothing. The following day on Monday, they find a bullet behind a glass jar. That clearly shows that bullet was planted in the crime scene to implicate any other person other than Abolongo Twala, no Kelly Kumar, no Zandi Kumar. So we know all about that gun, that it is disputed. Even the handling of the gun. Remember when Umangena went to collect that gun at Cleveland police station, he found it on an open bag. The gun was kept at Cleveland police station because Gadla Mnubo was charged for a different case. If you remember that he was accused of shooting and unaliving a taxi boss, Reggie Mohlala. That is why the gun was kept there at Cleveland. But when Umangena went to collect the gun for himself, he was very honest and said he found the gun laying on the floor on an open bag. That shows that gun, it was compromised. The barrel of a gun was changed. That's the only conclusion I can come up to. That is why when Osman figure Gininda, when the gun is tested, it matches to Gadla Mnube's gun. That barrel of a gun was changed in order to implicate Gadla Mnube. That's it. And you must remember, Guti, they said the intruders that came into the house were carrying a gun that had a wheel, meaning that it was a revolver, not the 9mm Gadla Mnube. So we all know that the important evidence in this court has been disputed. The witnesses state they are confused. People in the house are saying the gun had a wheel. Mangena is telling us lies, saying the gun is a 9mm. But you cannot dispute into Ebono Abandoned with their own eyes. Abo Keli, Abo Long, and Abo Zand. They're all saying the gun had a wheel. So they can't all be mistaken if we are to believe any of these witnesses by the state. So the state has to believe their own witnesses, because Abo Longo Twala are state witnesses. So Baloyi has to believe them when they say the gun had a will. You cannot tell us now, no. They are not trained with guns, so they are not expected to know what is permission so good. So we know for the fact that the gun issue is very important for this case. It should be the central theme. Yet defense when he takes the stand and say, my lord, the gun that shot into me was not my gun because of A, B, C, and D. That's what I've been mentioning just now. And thereafter, the other disputed evidence that Ubalo is running away from is the fact that telephone records shows that at about the same time when Senzo was shot, his cell phone pinged in Johannesburg CPD, meaning that Gadla was not in Fosoras. He cannot be in two places at once because Bakwethu, he is not the Holy Spirit. Gadla ngeke abe seFosoras nase-Johannesburg CPD at the same time. Those places are quite far apart. So Ubalo is focusing now on these telephone records because he can see that the main evidence that he's supposed to focus on is not going to push his case. The gun evidence will not win him a case because the gun issue has been disputed and been debunked by their own police officers. Umasondo, Dlamini, the one that arrested Gadla Mncube, they said Gadla's gun was not a match. I'm going to play that audio where Umasondo testified in court and said they tested this Gadla Mncube, but it did not match with the projectile that was found in the crime scene. So that is very important. After I'll play that, and then I'll comment. Just listen here to Masondo telling the court that this Pamswa Gadla was not matched with the projectile that was found in the crime scene of Khumalo, and then we'll talk about it.
On the covering letter here, That is Exhibit X3 in paragraph 4. You requested the Forensic Science Laboratory to determine whether the firearm was involved in any other cases, not so?
That is correct, my lord.
Yebo kwakuyisicelo sami ke ukuthi babhekeke ukuthi isibhamu leso sasimbandakanyeka yini kwamanye amacala.
Now, this case, this Phosphorus case, this court has heard that it happened on the 26th of October 2014. 26th October 2014, not so?
That is correct.
Yebo kuqiniswa ukuthi leli cala phambi kwenkantolo ke lona langa 26 October 2014.
Now, you are arresting accused number 3 on the 9th of February 2015, not so?
That is correct.
Mina ke ngambopha nge-9 February 2015.
And common sense will tell us that the date on which you are arresting him, you allegedly find in his possession this firearm, it was almost more than 3 months after the Phosphorus incident had happened, not so?
That is correct.
Futhi ke kusemuva ke kwezinyanga ezintathu senzeke isigameko sasePhosphorus kathi mina ngimbamba nge-9 noma ngimbopha nge-9 February 2015.
Now, and common sense will tell you that if there were any exhibits that were found at the Phosphorus case, and this court has said that some firearm was used, those exhibits must have been taken, must have been at the Forensic Science Laboratory already, not so?
So,
Nokuthi ke uma kuukuthi kukhona okwatholakala ePhosphorus ngo-26 October 2014 ukuthi lokho ke kwakusekundluliswe kuvele khona elab yamaphoyisa.
Now, when you receive this report, the basis of which is stated in paragraph number 4 of Exhibit X3, did this firearm that was found in the possession of the accused person had anything to do with this Phosphorus case?
You want him to answer that question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
my lord, there is nothing depicted by the firearm that was recovered on this case. Should it have been, definitely I think I was going to deal with it at that time. Others.
What you saying? Nothing.
Nothing. Yes,
Okay.
nothing.
Akukho ke kulesibhamu esatholakala ke kuyena ke ngalezi ayi-9 February 2015 ekwakuhlanganisa ke naleli ke icala leli. Uma kukuthi kwakukhona ke ngabe ke ngakubheka ke noma ngakunaka lokho.
There you have it. Masondo says the gun kaGadla Mncube was not a match. So clearly Gadla Mncube is not the shooter of Senzo Mnyu. That is the painful truth to Baloyi, which is why he's now focusing on this telephone record Kantanzi, trying to prove to Kantanzi that his cell phone in prison. But that does not take us anywhere because credibility or no credibility, it doesn't matter. If, let's say, Unota believes him, Gadla Ulona Untanzi is lying about the cell phone, it does not move his case forward because that does not prove ukuthi Mncube Untanzi shot Senzo Mnyu, because Ubaloyi has failed to put Untanzi on the crime scene with his telephone records. Our telephone records Kantanzi at about the same time when Senzo was shot, they are nowhere for Phosphorus, meaning that Untanzi was not in Phosphorus. So Untanzi is also supported by Amatawa that are there. They do not put him at the crime scene. And on the same day when Senzo was shot, Untanzi never contacted any of the 5 accused. Remember in court, Untanzi asked Baloyi, Baloyi, you're asking me about these cell phone records ka 2020. Why are you not asking me about 2014? why are you not showing me the records where I phoned accused 1 or accused 3 or accused 4 or accused 5? Sometimes made a valid point, but Balo just ignored him and asked the following question because he did not have an answer. So the state, I think it is in deep trouble now if we had a fair judge. But because we have Judge Rata, I do not believe in this court the accused will get justice. But I'm confident that once they take the case to the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein, the guilty verdicts of Judge Rata will be reversed and these accused will be found not guilty because we know the gun evidence was totally disputed because when the gun was tested for the first time, it showed that that gun is not the gun that shot and unalived Senzo. Then we move over to Shadrack Sibiya. His evidence at Madlang Commission of Inquiry was postponed for some reason. I think Sibiya was tired now. At the time when he was being questioned, he said, it is well after 8 p.m. now, I'm tired. Can we postpone until further notice? I think he realized that now the following questions that were going to come were going to be about the Senzo case where he was implicated as well. Remember that even Constable Zungu said Shadrack Sibiya was there when he conducted the first interview that was done by Ugininda, and the police said Sibiya was there sitting and taking notes. But remember, Sibiya told the parliamentary ad hoc committee that his involvement at the Moyo case ended at the crime scene. He said he was never part of the interviews, but Constable Zungu implicated Sibiya when he said Sibiya was there during the interview. I'm going to play that audio as well as Sibiya's evidence in the parliamentary ad hoc committee, so you can see that Sibiya, he contradicted himself. He lied under oath in parliament. So now Sibiya is going to be asked about the Senzo Moyo case when he comes back for the second time in the Madlang Commission of Inquiry, because they are unfinished business for Sibiya. And remember that Sibiya, on the day when Senzo was shot, he arrived at the crime scene and held a meeting with those people that were in the house. He held a meeting before the arrival of Detective Mosia. Mosia, remember, is the forensic expert that was doing all the forensic work, taking fingerprints, checking photos, and so on. Sibiya held a meeting before the arrival of Mosia because Mosia arrived very late. Mosia blamed Unlo for giving him a wrong address, but the fact that Sibiya held a meeting at the crime scene before it was tested forensically, meaning that Sibiya contaminated the crime scene, which is why he should have been charged for defeating the ends of justice. I'm sure that at Madlanga they're going to ask him there about that fact, because contaminating a crime scene, so Sibiya fanaboshe for logo unless he says something positive at the Madlang Commission of Inquiry, because he has to answer those questions regarding the crime scene because it was contaminated by him, and we know for the fact now that it is evidence before the court that Constable Zungu told us that Sibiya was involved in the Moyo case, contrary to what Sibiya had said earlier. So we shall see today because we need to get moving. But I'm sure Balo is going to focus on those bail hearings that were under Judge Ledwaba, the same Judge Ledwaba that was implicated in the Madlang Commission inquiry. Therefore, I have no respect for Judge Ledwaba. Thank you for watching.
I've never done anything wrong, and there have been many teams, more than 10 different teams that were set to investigate this thing. I have done nothing that can actually cause the matter to be not to be successful.
When Senzo Meyiwa was killed, did you went to the scene?
I'm actually happy that I'm being asked on the issue of Senzo Meyiwa, and it's an issue that I wish I could spend time on it to clarify, so that finally South Africans can get to hear the truth. And allow me, Chair, to deal with this Senzo Meyiwa issue. When Senzo Meyiwa, after Senzo Meyiwa was killed, I was the head of the Hawks in Gauteng. I was at home in Pretoria. I got a call from the acting provincial commissioner, who was General Musikiri at that time. I was at home at night. I didn't even know about the shooting. And it was around about 11 at night. And remember, Senzo was killed after 7:30, round about 7:30, early evening. And what I had to do as the head of the Hawks was to call a team to say, let's meet there. It's just like when a serious crime has been committed, we move, we go there. And what happened there is that as we moved, all of us, we got there, I ran straight to hospital. And simply because of the fact Senzo Meyiwa is a national key point, it's a national asset. It's not ordinary member where someone can say someone has been gunned out, then as the head of the house, I'll also go there. But because it was a national goalkeeper of Ireland, we all had to react, and we went. Even General Musikiri, who was the acting provincial commissioner, we all went and we met at the police station, at the hospital. When I got to the hospital, it was packed, even in the passage, even in the ward where he was lying motionless. And everybody was crying there. Even myself, I could not make my way through into the ward. I saw him lying inside there, but from outside the ward. And then I realized that it won't work. I then said to General Musikiri, I will go to the house where now the investigation must start, because now the investigation process had to start. Now for the investigation process to start, we then had to go to the scene of crime. When we get to the house where it happened, it was packed. Outside the yard, inside the yard, there was up and down movement in the house. I'm well trained when it comes to investigations. I'm 37 years doing what I'm doing. The very first thing is to take charge of the scene of crime. Mine was to give instructions and say, please, secure the scene, preserve the scene. This is a scene of crime. Now the team had to make sure that they remove everybody on site to outside the yard so that it can be cordoned, the scene of crime can be cordoned. Remember, I arrived late at night when this thing happened almost after 7:30, and the scene was already processed by the officials. They processed, it was processed, cleaned. The experts have done their work. Now, when I arrived there, I also found MEC Sizakele Nkosi Malobane and other generals were there. Now, ours, we come here as a fact-finding team. We come in here, we knock, we sit down in the sitting room. It's clean, there's no blood, there's no spotty that you can see, or everything is in place. And then we sit, we listen, we ask questions, what happened? This one explained, this one explained, this one explained, this one explained. This is the normal course of attending to crime scene. The MEC was there also, we were all listening. And then from there, General Musikiri and them arrived from hospital to join us. There were other generals, including...
Now Sibiya was present. Were you also present at that meeting?
Now we're meeting now.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So what happened then?
Kwenzekani lapha?
Ngafika emeetingini uGeneral wayengizile kwathi esefonela uGeneral Sibiya.
I arrived at the meeting, the general had called me. He then contacted the General Sibiya.
Then wabe sefika uGeneral Sibiya.
General Sibiya arrived.
Then wafika wafe walalela phela.
He only listened.
Wabe sibuza ukuthi ubani ngiphi ophethe lokudaba head office.
And then inquired as to who was handling this matter at the head office.
Wabe sethi Colonel Kinyinda.
Then said it was Colonel Kinyinda.
Then uGeneral wabe sethi akufonelwe uWarrant Officer Makhubo.
The general then said the Warrant Officer Makhubo should be contacted.
Wabe sebemfonela.
Warrant Officer Makhubo was indeed called.
Wabe sefika futhi uWarrant Officer Makhubo.
Warrant Officer Makhubo arrived.
Wafika uWarrant Officer Makhubo wabe semchaza general ukuthi yini le esikhuluma ngayo.
Upon Warrant Officer Makubo's arrival, General then informed Warrant Officer Makubo as to what it is or what it was that we were talking about.
General who?
General Leshabani.
General Leshabani.
Yes.
Then Warrant Officer Makubo wabe seyichitha le ndaba wathi ayikho.
Warrant Officer Makubo just said that this matter, there's no such.
As a court, please, my lord, may that hearsay evidence be admissible. We submit that it's in the interest of justice. There's a second docket that has been brought up in these proceedings, and this communication pertains to that matter.
Just repeat what you just said.
My lord, the state requests that the utterances by Warrant Officer Makubo be...
specifically.
I'm sorry?
The utterances by Makubo specifically.
Yes, by Warrant Officer Makubo.
Right.
Be admitted in the interest of justice, even if it's hearsay. We submit, my lord, that it is in the interest of justice that it be allowed as it pertains to the second docket that has been brought up in these proceedings.